Hello and welcome to the Edit Podcast. This is Questions and Answers edition. I'm your host, Ryan Powell. And as always, I'm joined with Laura to discuss your questions about entrepreneurship, small business, and culture in Wales. So, do you want to just get right into the show?
Yeah, let's
Like
do it.
that, bang, then done it. Question one is from Noah, and Noah's from Glasgow. And it's, do you believe that remote work is sustainable for the long term? We get these sort of questions quite a lot about remote working. So I'm quite interested in your answer on this one.
We do. And I've got to answer it truthfully and coming from my personal perspective. My business is built on flexible working because I feel that it's a massive need, especially locally in Wales. Across the UK, we all need flexibility at some point with our jobs. And I feel that it's really important to me from a personal perspective because as a single parent many years ago, I struggled even when the jobs didn't state flexible working and you questioned it, you got turned away.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing. I think COVID did us a massive favor
Yeah,
in
for
the
sure.
sense that we can remote work. Don't get me wrong, it needs to be managed really, really carefully and properly. And it's something that we work on probably almost every day to make sure that the staff are well, the staff have everything they need, have the support that they need so they don't feel isolated at home. We have a good sort of team building on a daily basis and on a monthly, quarterly when we can around our workloads. There are your benefits for remote working. I personally think it is sustainable long term as long as you manage it properly.
Yeah.
I've been running my business for 6 years and it's all been remote.
Oh, there you are.
So
Yeah.
and so I think not for everyone.
Sure.
It certainly is something that is needed and probably needed a lot. Even for the younger generation that's coming into the world of work now, and they can experience the flexible working, remote working. They may be a young carer for their grandparent or parent or young sibling, and they may need to be there at a certain time of the week to take them, I don't know, to a group or to an appointment, which do come up. And I think having that flexibility just reduces your stress a little bit.
Right.
There are definitely benefits. You've got reduced carbon footprint, you've got resource efficiency, and you've got a much better work-life balance when you are providing remote working and flexible work.
Yeah.
But it does come with its challenges, and I think it's down to the person managing it. They need to be knowledgeable about the area of the type of work that you do, and we implement daily check-ins to make sure that everyone's working, but also to know that they're okay. And if they need anything, if they ever want me, they know they can just pick up the phone and I will be there. And I think it's just having those reassuring, I can't think of the right word now, but having those structures in place to make sure that not just you as a business is running efficiently, but individually as well.
It's good for the employer as well. Something that I love about it is the fact that I'm not paying the big office expenses. So we are an office, it's like business rates, this, that, and the other. And it's actually, I don't really want to pay all those things, but I don't really want to, just to do what we can do at home. And also, it's really weird that this is even a debate, in my opinion. I'm like, because if your project requires in-office working, a lot of collaboration, fine, whatever. But if it doesn't, then remote's fine. I think people get skeptical because employees enjoy it so much as a whole, from what I can see anyway.
Yeah.
I think people are like, oh, they're enjoying it. That means they must not be working. And I understand that. As a kid, I used to like art class, not because I like art, but because we didn't do anything. And I think it was my favorite class. But I understand, I'd be skeptical on that. Well, but ultimately, I think it is one of the things that actually is just good enough to be true. So yeah.
I think so. Yeah. And you've got like you said, you've got to trust your employees, and you will know if the work is not getting done as a manager. You will know that you're not hitting your targets and you're not fulfilling your duties to your clients and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And you can set your measurements and you can track them as you go along. I think there are so many benefits to it, but it has to be managed. It has to be managed rightly. And going forward, I don't think we're not going to see the end of it. I think we're probably going to
No,
see a lot more of it.
we're going to see an increase in it. If I was to guess, I would say that more places will. And like I said, it's personally it's better for small business for sure. It means that we can reduce costs, we can hire more, we can put money elsewhere. So yeah, I'm with you. I'm pro working from home as well. But like you, I agree. Management is key.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I've got a question for you from Isabella from
Okay.
Belfast. How do you handle negative public relation incidents?
Okay, it's quite a spicy one. I wonder what this person's done. No, I'm joking. Okay, yeah. When it comes to handling negative PR, I think the first thing you want to do is just take accountability. So read whatever is being accused of you, or read whatever's going on, and actually go through and go, do you know what? Yeah, I did do that, or I didn't do X, Y, Z. So you go through what you agree with and what you disagree with, and then you come out with, okay, I actually can see these points. Here's why, because an explanation is so important. Here's why these things are going on. But most importantly, what most people want to know is how you're going to fix it. I actually have a personal story on this. I did one show with our cinema that was rubbish, did not go well. And it was due to the projector strength. And it was due to it being one of our first shows. The staff weren't as trained and all these things. And basically, all we did and the way we tackled it is we wrote down a list of all the things that went wrong, and then we addressed them all. So then we got and I believe the PR statement's still out there as well. So we literally wrote like big list. We like my projector strength, training, this, that, and the other. And we went through them in bullet points. I know you're like action. So problem, action. So problem, projector strength. We're going to get a new projector, that kind of thing. And we just went through each of them, and we were very open, honest. We recognized it. We apologized. And then if you could offer like some sort of compensation, in our case, we can offer like free tickets, which is great. We just came out, we fixed it. And we also said some things that we didn't agree with. Some comments we were like, actually, no, that is unfair. And we stood our ground and we put it to as many outlets as possible. For me, I think when it comes to PR, you ain't going to get away with lying. It's not happening. Like you ain't, like, it will come out. So just take accountability. And then most importantly, what most people want to see is like improvements, and people like really, really appreciate it. And actually, just a little secret, it was the day after was our best sales day to this date as well. And that's really interesting because our response was shared because it was so positive. It's the same sort of thing. Can't believe I'm going to bring this up, but it's a very similar thing that happened with the Sonic the Hedgehog movie that we saw that. So they came out with an awful design for him. It was really bad. And then they fixed the design of him. And because they fixed it, more people went to go see the movie because they felt like they'd been geared. So actually, if you hear it, take accountability and change it, chances are you are going to come out on top. So that's my advice.
I think you've got to own it, haven't you? If you make a mistake, you have to own that you've made it. And then assess the situation, like you just wrote down your pros and cons of what happened, and break it down even further to how you can make it better the next time. And I think
that's right.
I think a lot of people don't know how to own up when they've done wrong.
They need a guru.
I think certainly in business is your business. You have to own it when you've done something wrong, or whether you've done something in the house. It's like when you teach the kids. I don't know if a kid pinches somebody or something, that's been in the headlines at the minute. And it's about teaching them the right from wrong and being able to hold my hands up and say, you know what? Yeah, this was bad on our part, and this is how we're going to make it better. I find that having that backup solution or backup plan is always going to help you. So if plan A doesn't go right, then head over to plan B and try and crack that one. But definitely assessing the situation and actually having a look rather than jumping in while everything is just hot and maybe causing a bigger problem than it needs to be.
Yeah, be logical, not emotional. And you can use emotions to justify like your half and be very human about it. But I would never let my emotions make my decisions. I'm not. You use my head instead, right? So just wait for it to calm down. Because if I'm emotional, I'm just gonna attack and I'm just I don't know, I will. But if I'm yeah. But if I use my head and I'm like, do you know, yeah, okay, now I'm calm down, I'm rational. Like you said, make a decision when you're actually like rational. That's great.
Right.
A question. This is from Jack from Coventry. And is it ethical to outsource jobs to countries with lower labor costs? Okay.
So it's a bit of a tricky one because being in, like, I guess the industry that I'm in, I've heard a lot about this where we are a virtual assistant service that is based in the UK. Yes, we do cover wider across Europe and across the world, but I'm trying to make a difference in the UK. And I think it really boils down to what your business goals are and what you are aiming to achieve. I have been told before that when people have been looking into virtual assistant services in the UK, why aren't we as cheap as somebody in India?
Sure. Yeah.
And the reasons being is we live in a completely different world to them over there. And number two, being you can't guarantee what you're going to get when you outsource it to a different country. The main barrier being, have they got perfect English to cover the written tasks that a lot of our work is written because it's all done online? I can see both sides of the argument that, yes, in terms of costs, it would save you money if you did outsource to different countries. But then my argument around it is you may not get the same quality of work.
Yeah.
The lower labor costs in another country, you don't know how they are being treated. You don't see them. You don't see how they work. You don't see the conditions in how they work. Do they have a nice office space with a desk and the right screen, the right equipment? I personally, from my point of view, would prefer to keep things in Wales or in the UK because I feel that us as an economy, we are struggling.
Yeah.
Why would I outsource that to a different country when I could make somebody's life change for the better in our local community? Do you know what I mean? I guess it's different perspectives, how you feel. If you're trying to save money, then yes, maybe the lower costs of somebody abroad. But again, like I said earlier, it boils down to the quality of work that comes back then. Something, specialist things, yes, maybe others will be better at it than us. But I struggle to see the full sort of picture when you do outsource to another country, because to me, I think we should try and improve our home first before trying to improve somebody else's. I think with us, we've got control over what government bills are coming out. For example, we've got the recent legislation change for the flexible working bill that's come out. That's a massive change. And obviously we have pushed that in the UK. Other countries have been doing it for years.
Yeah.
But the UK are behind and we have finally got this in place. Why don't we build a better place to live in at home rather than pushing it overseas, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I think what you said about the economy is like a big one there for sure. I think about it. Yeah, it's cheaper, even when we're using like suppliers, not just looking to outsource work and things. It's like when we're giving money to other countries, especially right now, with cost of living and all that sort of thing going on. I think, yeah, now's the time to really spend in the UK, use UK talent. We have in my area, we have an unemployment problem as well. And I really could be offering jobs to people locally. I do understand the lower costs, and to be fair, you could even be strategical on it. You could use the lower cost to get started and then build something. And then once you build something, then you could look to hire teams here. And at the end of the day, my opinion on most things is whoever does a better job, that's to say, whoever will do the better job, that's who I will take on and hire. It really is that simple. There's no bias to
Yeah,
nothing.
and don't get me wrong, I think there are going to be people out there that could specialize in a particular area and you could use those skills to your advantage. Get that. But at the same time, like you said, in our local area, in lots of local areas, I think there's unemployment problems. And some will say it's because I can't pick the kids up from school or I can't take them to school. And why don't we just try and change that for the better before we start to outsource to other countries? And I do struggle. People, I do have two sides of the story. I know people that do outsource their admin to other countries, and I know others that outsource to us or people within the UK, and they've both got their own reasons why they do what they do and why they've made the decisions. One, obviously being cost, trying to keep the costs down of the back end processes. And I completely understand that, but that's where my heart comes into it, I think. And for example, I don't know, say Sarah up the road who wants to work, who wants to have a life outside of being a mum. And she's struggling so hard. If we can put something in place where we can just give her a couple of hours a week, that's like a lifeline to her. And I don't know, that's just my heart. I think probably head or heart, and I'm talking from my heart right now, but I would much prefer to be looking after people in our local community than I would abroad at the minute.
That's fair enough. Yeah, no, I understand. I'm with you. I think bigger picture wise, just because the wider impact on the economy, I think that's what I think about. And I also think if we don't employ people here and people don't work and then people don't have jobs and we're in a consumer based economy, eventually there'll be no one who can spend money on our business anyway. So it's like it all does feed into itself, doesn't it?
If there's missing a specific skill set, I get that. I get that you may only be able to get it in America. Totally understand that. But then there's a lot of changes that you need to acknowledge as well. They don't work at the same time zone. When you're in work, they may not be in work. It may be their nighttime. Do you know what I mean? So there's all different scenarios that you've got to consider before making that jump.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've got another question for you.
Okay.
And it's from Corporate Tax Avoidance.
Actually, I'm a bit of a... I think actually I'm a bit of a hot take. I know. I think we actually got a bit of a hot take. First off, let's get the difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion out of the way. Just first off, evasion, illegal. My opinion on that is wrong. Don't break the law. Pack it in, right? Like tax avoidance, or like basically finding ways to minimally pay taxes, putting all your profits into properties so you don't actually profit, that kind of thing. And you see very famous examples like Donald Trump and everyone having the uproar when he said he hasn't paid basically any tax. That's just because he's smart, in my opinion. And I've got a bit of a hot take, but I'm completely fine with it. I don't care. I really don't care. And why I don't is there's a rule book. We can all use it. It's not exclusive to people. And with the internet now, we can learn much anything using YouTube, TikTok, all these things. We can learn how to do it as well. It's a fair game. And just because they thought and they have the power and the brains to do it, that's them, and fair play. I don't know. I don't think they should be scolded for it. And I understand people are like, oh, they've got billions or millions and it could be invested in tax. But in my opinion, if that's really the problem, then it's the public sector that need to look at how they tax rather than we look to people who have a lot of money and how they are quote unquote avoiding tax. And it's more a responsibility of the public sector than the private, in my opinion. So if they do it and they're smart enough and they want to build their own wealth, in my opinion, they've earned it. They can do what they want with it. They're not in business to save the turtles. I think that's the government's problem. And that's really a bit of a harsh one. I personally try to pay as little tax as possible legally. That is my whole thing. And that's because I might actually feel differently on this. If I had a little slip every month that told me exactly where my taxes went, and I was like, do you know what? Fair play. Yeah, I'm really happy that my taxes went to this, that, and the other. I can see it's being managed and used correctly. I would probably feel differently on it because I don't. And we hear stupid phrases in our government. We have a couple of billion black hole or whatever back on, and then just stuff like that. And without getting too political, I think because of stuff like that, I'm not really comfortable with it. And I actually would rather reinvest my own money into building a better team. If I spend less on tax and I manage it correctly and build my own wealth, I can actually improve the workplace for my staff. And I care more about my own essentially than doing that. So that I don't know. I don't know how you feel on it. I know a lot of people are against it, but that's my take.
I think I'm in the middle with it because yes, don't break the law, do what you need to do to stay within the remit. But then I also see the other side of it where we work with tradesmen, one-man band sort of businesses, and it feels like sometimes those poor guys are just working to pay off their taxes. They're losing a day's wage then because of the systems that are in place, because of the NHS, because of all of that. And don't get me wrong, they are needed. But in some occasions, I just see some people constantly working and they're not seeing much from it. Do you know what I mean? And I think there is something that needs to be done around it. I'm not no political leader, so I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I do see people struggling, and even running a business, you see so much money go into taxes, go into all different things. And like you said, having that reassurance at the end of the month or the end of the year, oh, this is where my money went. Actually, that would be a perfect scenario for everybody, because we would be able to understand that the potholes in our local roads are filled, and we won't have to fix our cars continuously because of it. Do you know what I mean? It's just having those reassurances that our money is being reinvested into this economy at the minute, and it's very hard. It's very hard to understand. I feel like some days we're paying more taxes than we're paying ourselves.
Absolutely.
If you
tax on tax in the UK, to be honest with you, and I always use the argument, and it's tax the rich, and I'm like, good luck. Good luck. They will avoid it. Yeah, they will. They will change the law, change how tax works. Unfortunately, you need to rewrite. You can't just tax the rich. You'd have to rewrite how the whole system works, and that's a different. I think it's such a. I don't know. Like I said, like you get to that level by knowing a thing or two. Chances are,
you do. Definitely, you've got a smart pair of boots on, and you know a lot. But then when we work with the smaller businesses, and I see the struggles that they have, their bodies are struggling because the work they do is so physical. Yet they have to take a day off to go to the doctors because that doctor's appointment could take you all day.
Yeah.
And you never get to see the same doctor twice. And that's just our local area. But why are we paying all this money out to the cloud? Because that's where it feels like it's going. And we're not seeing any benefits from it, even though we're breaking our backs to do it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm on the fence. Don't do anything illegal, clearly. But I just feel like we're paying a lot out as business owners, and what do we actually see back? What do we actually get?
Yeah, that's good.
Just more shit at the minute, to be honest.
Honestly, that's actually really, really well said. Okay, I think that pretty much wraps us up for this week's questions of the edit. So if you've got a question on entrepreneurship or anything in the creative sector in Wales, please drop us an email at theeditwales@gmail.com. So that's theeditwales@gmail.com. And we'll see you for more next Tuesday.